Who are the newly covered? Low-income adults in states that coverage and access. Marketplace enrollment has grown to a record. Remaining gaps. Coverage is still not equal, particularly Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, HCAD. Coverage gains and disparities. Uninsured rates. State expansion decision. 10 states, Medicaid and ACA market integration.
The Affordable Care Act, or ACA, is one of the most significant health reforms in the modern United States history. Passed in 2010, it aimed to expand insurance coverage, improve quality care, and reduce costs. Since its passage, it has remained the center of political debates. Supporters argue that it has increased access to care and improved patient outcomes, while opponents focus on the rising government spending and administrative burdens. Cost of care is one of the most debated issues in the ACA debate. On one hand, the ACA reduced uncompensated hospital care costs by about $12 billion each year, which relieved financial pressures on hospitals and the local governments. Research also has found that per enrollee outpatient costs decreased by 3.9% after ACA reforms, reflecting more efficient use of care. However, critics argue that these savings are offset by the higher federal subsidies and rising premiums, especially in the individual insurance marketplace. In other words, while patients in hospitals benefited, government spending increased, creating long-term budgetary concerns. This tension between cost savings for providers and increased public spending for coverage is central to the political debate. Expanding access to care was one of the ACA's main goals, and Medicaid expansion played the largest role in achieving it. Studies have shown that expansion reduced the uninsured rate among low-income adults by 7 to 10 percentage points, which represents millions of people gaining coverage. States that expanded Medicaid also saw a 46% increase in Medicaid participation, meaning more people were actively using their coverage. These changes improved access to preventative services and ongoing care. Still, gaps do remain. For example, people with criminal legal involvement are still about twice as likely to be uninsured as the general population, even under the ACA. This shows that while ACA achieved major gains in coverage, disparities still persist. And this fuels political disagreements on whether the law is enough or whether additional reforms are needed. Beyond cost and access, quality of care is another important area of the ACA debate. Research found measurable improvements from 2014 and 2016, including higher ambulatory care quality scores, an increase of 1.5 to 3.2 percentage points in patient satisfaction ratings. These changes reflect improved care coordination and patient-centered outcomes. Proponents to these findings to urge that the ACA delivered on its promise to not only just expand coverage, but to also improve the overall care experience. However, opponents often argue that the law introduced additional administrative complexities and regulatory burdens on providers, which could reduce efficiency in the long term. The political conflict, therefore, isn't just about whether quality improved, but whether the improvements justify the added costs and regulations.
So the Affordable Care Act, which is ACA, created the health insurance exchanges, which are websites where people, families, and small businesses can look for and compare health insurance plans. These sites help users find affordable insurance and check if they can get financial help or Medicaid. And beginning on January 1st of 2014, every state permitted individuals to access these exchanges via either a state-operated site or a federal website. For this slide, I'm going to talk about how states have different ways to run their health insurance exchanges. There is one called Federally Facilitated Exchange, which is FFE. It's a government-run online marketplace where people can shop for health insurance. So the federal government runs the health insurance exchange for the state, and people can use the healthcare.gov website to sign up for insurance. The second one is the state-based marketplace on the federal platform, SBEFEFP, sorry. It's a way for states to create their own health insurance marketplaces using the federal system. As the government handles some tasks like planning and outreach, but uses the federal system to signing up people from the website. And the last one is the state-based exchange. SBE means a program set up by the state government to help people get health insurance. The state runs its own exchange and manages everything, so such as enrollment, managing plans, and helping customers.
In this section, I'll focus on how health insurance premiums have changed under the Affordable Care Act. When we think about the Affordable Care Act, one of the biggest questions is, has it actually made health insurance more affordable? I'll begin by reviewing the trends in premiums since 2016. Since 2016, Affordable Care Act premiums have gone through major shifts. In 2018, they spiked after the federal government stopped reimbursing insurers for cost-sharing reductions. Insurers responded with silver loading, raising silver plan premiums more than other metals. After that, premiums stabilized as many states adopted reinsurance programs. By 2025, benchmark premiums rose modestly, about 4% nationwide. So while volatility was high at first, most recent changes have been moderate. Next is why many consumers paid less. Even as gross premiums rose, many consumers paid less out of pocket. The American Rescue Plan in 2021 and the Inflation Reduction Act extended enhanced subsidies, lowering average net premiums by nearly half for those receiving tax credits. The 2022 fix to the family glitch expanded subsidy eligibility for dependents, making coverage more affordable for working families. These changes meant millions were shielded from higher premiums and could maintain affordable coverage. Next, we'll discuss 2026 outlook. Looking ahead, the key risk is 2026. If enhanced subsidies expire after 2025, enrollees will face steep premium increases, in some cases nearly double. Several states are already projecting large rate hikes in anticipation of this subsidy cliff. The bottom line is that while affordability has improved recently, its long-term stability depends on whether federal subsidies are extended.
What's the biggest concern you hear from your family and friends about healthcare? Most people would say the cost, that nearly half of adults in the U.S. still find health coverage unaffordable, even with insurance. Affordability is a key barrier that the ACA hasn't completely solved. Premium subsidies, originally expanded during the pandemic, are temporary. If they expire, many enrollees will see premiums rise significantly, and some may drop coverage. The state budget remains under pressure. Even though the federal government helps fund Medicaid expansions, states will struggle with costs, especially when the ACA plans involve high deductibles that discourage people from seeking care.